Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Comic Central Toy Review. And today's toy review, we'll be looking at the 2006 release, my SOTA of the Street Fighter action figure review. And today's action figure review, we'll be looking at the Round 4 series of Birdie. Now first things first, I have to blame A369 there for managing to poison me, to prompting me to get this figure. And I was lucky enough to stumble upon this figure being sold in a toy shop near my area for 39 ringgit and 90 cents. So without hesitation, I just bought the figure. Then later on, when I met my friend and I told him about this, he told me there's another shop that sells this for 25 ringgit, which I have no idea which shop it was. And I was like, for 25 ringgit, I could save that a little bit. Never mind. Now, when I picked this packaging up, I was quite surprised that it was very hefty in weight. Most likely due to the massive amount of plastic being used, especially the top part of the portion there. Now, at the top part of the packaging, you've got this word Street Fighter there, and you've got the artwork of Ryu, and here you've got the figure, 3 additional hands, additional head there, and the switchblade, which I heard a lot of complaints that the joint here for the switchblade tends to break very easily. So I hope to God when I open this packaging, this won't break. Now at the bottom part of the packaging, you got a nice little artwork of Birdie and his move list. Now at the back of the packaging itself, you'll notice the rest of the lineup for the Round 4 series. Akuma, Remy, you've got Birdie there, Fei Long, and Ibuki. So without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the toy. Be right back. And we're back on the room, the figure and the rest of the stuff out from packaging. Now the moment I open the packaging to get the figure out, there's an overwhelming, horrible chemical smell just hit on my face the moment the packaging is opened. And it turns out it came from the paint job. It was horrible. Now let's take a look at the figure's accessory, the switchblade here. Now the switchblade is very nicely detailed stuff. One side there's a silver button there, on the other side it doesn't. It's very nicely detailed and nicely designed. Now if you want to, well, flip the comb out, make sure you do it very gently because it's supported by this very tiny joint, and it will break very easily if you don't take care of it. So you can flip it up all the way like so, and there you have it. You have the comb itself for him to, well, comb his mohawk hair, and the comb can fit easily onto his holding hand. It comes with a holding hand, and you can hold the chain as well. All you have to do is just pop the switchblade into his hand like so. Very nicely done. Now it comes with a pair of closed fists. One hand is a left hand that's open up, and one right hand that's a holding hand, and also another right hand which does the thumbs up or thumbs down pose, just like in the game itself. And it's very nicely detailed. Let's take a look at the left hand here. You notice all the rings there are very nicely detailed stuff. All the rings are nicely done, nicely sculpted. And on the right hand, he wears another different set of rings. You've got the skull there, snakes, a silver ring, very nicely done. Now he comes with an extra head. Your normal head is displayed originally in the packaging itself, and there's another head here with his tongue sticking out, which can be used to do 2 poses in the game. In the game, he would do a thumbs down pose while sticking his tongue out, and another pose where he pulls his chain and he starts licking it. Now the details is very nice. Both heads are very nicely painted and very well sculpted. The eyes are painted, very nicely done. You can actually see the eyes. Eyebrows there are well sculpted, his nose as well, the beard, and he has this red ball earrings on both sides. This one's more darker for some reason. He has a nice little mohawk that is straight. However, this one is a bit more, well, bent on one side due to being trapped in the packaging for quite some time. And this version has his tongue sticking out. It's very nicely done. Now the problem is both the heads, I'm not too sure why the heads and not the entire body, comes with this very oily, I would assume it's paint oils, sticking onto the entire head. and it became very sticky the moment you touch it, and I have to spend some time cleaning the heads. Now it's much more better, but there are some spots that I can't reach. At least it doesn't feel more stickier than the first time I hold it. Now let's take a look at the other accessory that the figure has here, which is not removable. It's attached to his wrist, but it comes with this metallic chain here, very nicely done. At the end of the chain, as you notice, it's designed in this fashion where he can hold it onto the other hand or on the same hand. It's very nicely done. Now the figure's paint job is very well detailed stuff. Speaking of which, I almost forgot to mention, this head doesn't come with the heart-shaped tattoo on the head, both sides of the head, because somehow it got chipped off for some reason. This one still maintained the heart-shaped tattoo on both sides of the head. It's very nicely detailed stuff, very nicely painted. Now the only problem is that the lower joints here is all, as you can see, is smudged up with the vest's paint job. So that's still alright, because at least it's at the joints there and you can actually cover it up, so it's not too bad. The paint job is very nicely detailed. The horn skull belt buckle is also painted in silver. He has white socks that's also painted. Very nice leather shoes, that really pointy shoes that he's wearing, very nicely done. The back of the figure itself. And it also has another accessory, a necklace there. Now the sculpt on the figure itself is quite interesting. His entire body, the upper part of the body, is so humongous, but yet his legs is so thin. And you notice his legs doesn't even stand straight at all, and this is already straight. Very interesting sculpt on the legs. It's quite nicely done as well, pointy. And the vest itself is a separate material, not like the rest of the figure itself, and apparently this is a much more softer material. Apparently they put the vest, the softer plastic material of this vest, just slap it and glue it onto the figure's body. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The head actually can pivot a little bit upwards and a little bit downwards and turn 360 degrees. The arms can actually turn 360 degrees like so and spread it that far. Upper bicep turns 360 degrees, elbow bend this far, wrist can turn 360 degrees and go upwards and inwards, and you can easily pop it off like so. Torso here can actually bend downwards or go straight like so. The waist articulation turns 360 degrees, and we have a ball joint, hip joint here that goes forward, a little bit back, and to the sides. But it's a bit loose on the front part. The swivel thigh here turns 360 degrees, which is also a bit loose. The knee joint here is double jointed, very nicely done. Shin here, the lower shin here, can turn 360 degrees, but it's also loose. The ankle here can pivot downwards and upwards, and here the foot here can actually turn 360 degrees. So overall, I really love the articulation on the figure itself. It's just that it's a bit loose on the lower legs there. It's very loose. It's really hard to pose the figure properly without him toppling all over the place, and I really hate that horrible paint smell covered in the figure's body and the head. So it's my fingers are still a bit sticky right now. Even I washed it with soap after touching this. My god. So overall, if I'm gonna give a rating on this figure, I'll say I'll give it an 8 out of 10. So I thank you all for watching. This is Your 5, and I'm signing off.